Okay, so I want to talk a little bit today about nitric oxide. I don't know, I've talked about this before, so I'm sure it's not a totally new thing, or maybe it is. And this is not to be confused with nitrous oxide, which is, I don't know if you've ever inhaled a nitrous balloon and then, get really lightheaded and dizzy. That is not what I'm talking about. So nitrous oxide is different than nitric oxide. And nitric oxide, it was founded, or not found by, but Louis, what is his name? Ignarro. Louis Ignarro was the physician he won the Nobel Peace Prize for his work on discovering what the effects of nitric oxide are in the body. And basically it's a gas in our body that is responsible for dilating the smooth muscles of our body, and that includes our blood vessels, and also our smooth, beyond just the blood vessels, it gets into the lungs too. So nitric oxide is a bronchodilator. It makes all the muscles of our airways soften and open and relax so that oxygenation can happen. And it does the same with our blood vessels, where it lowers our blood pressure and makes our blood vessel walls more relaxed. So this is obviously a good thing to have in our body. It's also there's been a study that I read about with babies with pulmonary hypertension, that they have been given very small amounts of nitric oxide inhaled, and it has saved babies' lives. And there's a study that is, their Mass General Hospital in Massachusetts just got approved to have a study of nitric oxide treatment for COVID, thinking that it might help with bronchodilation and airway and oxygenation. But also there's some evidence for other coronaviruses that nitric oxide has a direct impact in mammals on killing viruses and bacteria. So not just the bronchodilation and the vasodilation, but the actual impact of this gas exchange with the virus itself. And nobody knows if that will be true for COVID-19, but Mass General is going to do a small study to see, so that's exciting. I'll be watching out for that. And the cool thing about nitric oxide, I mean, obviously if someone's on a respirator and is being given nitric oxide, that's different, but for all of us regular people, we have a free source of nitric oxide enhancement, and that is our breath. So when we breathe through our nose, all the chambers in our sinuses have this gaseous exchange, and nitric oxide is developed when we breathe through our nose and then brought down into the lungs, and it's this beautiful bronchodilator. When we breathe through our mouth, we don't get any of the nitric oxide. We don't produce the nitric oxide as much, and we don't access it for our breathing. So it's really important to breathe in through the nose. You can breathe out through the mouth, but to breathe in through the nose. And I know with all the mask wearing that everybody's been doing, I've talked to a lot of people who feel like they're becoming even more predominantly mouth breathers when they are wearing a mask than when they are not wearing a mask. And for those of you who wear glasses, people are like, oh yeah, my glasses fog up. But really, you can control the glass fogging up by breathing out through your mouth, breathing out through your mouth. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth will help with the feeling of, overwhelm that a mask can give you. So if you feel like you're mouth breathing more than you normally are, and most of us are mouth breathers a lot of the time anyway, really try to, have that carrot dangling in front of you that this is a very healthy thing for you to be doing for your body. And those are just some of the things that nitric oxide does. There's more too. So in our practice today, we're going to focus on the breath, and we're going to focus on breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. You can breathe out through your nose too, but I think if we're trying to train ourselves to use our nose, training just on the inhale and then letting our body be a little bit more relaxed on the exhale is a really great way of trying to cultivate more nasal breathing. Also, on the exhales through the mouth, we can slow our exhales down quite well when we breathe through our mouth. And this has a profound effect on the nervous system. So as you practice today, focus as much as you can. If hopefully you don't have a cold and your nasal passages are blocked, but if you're able to, breathe through the nose as much as you can and breathe out through the mouth as much as you can. Now, if your practice starts to take you away from that, if the exertion makes you feel like you can't, that you have to kind of gulp air through your mouth, I invite you to stop your practice and back off and slow down and do less, so that really the focus of your attention is on your inhales being through your nose. Sometimes it's a matter of feeling short of breath. Sometimes it's a matter of feeling this is just an unusual pattern in my body and it's uncomfortable. So do what you can to stretch your window of tolerance for being able to cope with a new strategy. Breathing is our most entrained pattern that we have, that we have some sort of control over. I mean, we don't always control the breath, but we have a little bit of autonomy when it comes to the breath. So know whether or not your uncomfortableness is, I'm short of breath and I need to stop and get some more air, or if I'm just uncomfortable because this is different and unusual. And remember, a teeny bit of air hunger is not a bad thing. It's, you are the only one who can determine what that balance act is. But a little teeny bit of air hunger actually increases your carbon dioxide levels, which is also very healthy in small doses for your body as well. So increase your window of tolerance as much as you can for the inhale, and then let the practice take the back seat. If you need to stop, slow down, do something different, let that be your guide for today. So let's close our eyes and just take a moment to first, don't worry about your breath just yet. Just first settle into the body. Relax the eyes, kind of trail down through your senses, through your body, where you can just tell the body it's okay. Time to relax, time to settle and soften. If you tend to be a shoulder huncher or a top breather, meaning top chest breather, take time now to let your exhales drop your shoulders, to feel a sense of softness come in as you exhale. And then when you're ready, start to notice the breath. See if you can close your mouth gently. So don't clench your teeth, don't clench your tongue, your jaw. Have a sense of ease. We're just going to gently breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. It's that simple. We're not going to add any fancy layering of pranayama. We could, but we're not going to for today. Just breathing through 2 nostrils. See if you can become aware of the feeling of your breath moving from your nostrils. Where does it go? Can you feel your sinuses? Can you feel those chambers, those caverns? Can you feel the breath swirling there? Can you feel the breath moving down your trachea into your bronchioles, into your lungs? And then as you exhale, let the exhale come out through, and you can purse your lips a little bit if that helps you slow things down. You can make, a little wind sound on the exhale. In through the nose. And if you feel like you want to breathe out through the nose, that's fine. But really, I just want you to focus on the inhale through the nose. And then you can breathe out whatever way is comfortable for you. Just notice if there's choppiness. Be okay with whatever you're finding. If it's difficult to do this, if it's easy to do this, if you feel smoothness or choppiness or uncomfortableness, steadiness, whatever you're feeling, be okay with what you're feeling. And notice also as you inhale through your nose, how your diaphragm is reacting. So not only this beautiful gas exchange through your sinuses, kind of gathering the nitric oxide along the way, dilating all the smooth muscles, but also feel the impact on the diaphragm. Feel how the breathing through the nose has a slightly different pressure gradient than breathing through the mouth. And it's very stimulating to the diaphragm. So just feel that everything you're feeling. Just try to notice what it feels in the nose, the sinuses, the lungs themselves. Also notice what the diaphragm feels. Can you let the belly relax? then place your palms together at your heart and give yourself an intention for your practice. What else do you need to relax into? So maybe it's your veins or your arteries. Maybe it's your bronchioles. Maybe it's something in your mind that you need to relax into. All right, let's go ahead and relax the hands and let's come onto our back. Okay, let's come lie down. And just take a moment to, we're going to just repeat some breathing. We will get up and move, I promise, but let's just enjoy the breath a little bit longer. So sometimes when we're horizontal, the breath is that much easier to access. And I know if you were here on Monday, we did a little bit of Ujjayi breath, and you can just forget about that. There's always all sorts of different techniques. What I want you to focus on is just inhaling a long, steady inhale through the nose. Noticing what that feels like in your sinuses. Try to access the sensation of breath traveling. Notice the pressure gradient on the diaphragm. That, it's almost like a little bit of a suction where the diaphragm and the breath move obviously together. Where do you want your limbs? Anywhere you want your limbs, put them. If you tend to be a real top breather, where you breathe in the top third of your chest primarily, what can you do to bring your awareness down, lower in the body, into the diaphragm? Letting the lower lung fields find some expansion, the rib cage opening and widening in the bases. Do you want to inhale? Do you want to exhale through your mouth or through your nose? What's comfortable here? Is this sustainable? We haven't moved yet, so it's more sustainable when we're at rest. But see if you can find a pace, a rhythm, a cadence that you can sustain. And do your very best through the moving practices to keep your front and center attention on every breath going in through the nose as best as you can. I think I've shared with some of you before that I've heard of a college coach, running coach, that duct taped all of his runners' mouths while they were running to train them to become nose breathers. And their performance was greatly enhanced by doing this, of course, with a lot of struggle along the way. Can you imagine being duct taped? I'm not recommending that. You don't want to feel trapped. That's stressful. But just see what it feels like to try to monitor the breath moving through the nose. Let's move our bodies now. Inhale, stretch your arms and legs. You can lengthen them. Stretch the right side of the body, get into the lung fields there. Stretch the left side of the body, get into the lung fields there. And just notice. And notice where the impulses to breathe through the mouth are. Like I'm breathing through my mouth a fair amount because I'm talking. But just notice where your impulses to desire to breathe through your mouth comes. Bring your knees into your chest. Rock around a little bit. Start to sway through your spine. Circle your knees a little bit. Just get comfortable in your back and your hips. Start to loosen some things up. Maybe you've been sitting for a few hours at a computer. So just take some time to loosen your back. And then let's bring the knees away from each other and swing them back in, letting the hip joints have some opening. Notice if you have differences between your two sides. I'll put my money on the fact that you do. So just notice what's there. And then let's just pause with our knees wide for a moment and take a breath with your legs wide. Notice all the room for your belly. Notice all the room for your diaphragm. And then exhale and bring your knees into your chest. Right knee into your chest, left leg long on the floor. Take some circles with your ankles. Wiggle out your toes. Know where you want your knee to be. Do you like it outside a little bit more or right up against your chest? What's the trajectory for your hip that's most comfortable? Extending the spine. And then let's go ahead and switch sides.
Maintaining that inhale through the nose, if you can, the exhale through the mouth, or if you prefer, exhale through the nose, whichever you prefer. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and bring both knees into the chest. Head in, squeeze all your air out. Inhale, bring all your air in. Like your whole body's a big sponge, welcoming in the air. And then as you exhale, squeeze the sponge out. All the air goes. One more time. Exhale, all the air goes. And then roll over onto your side and come up onto your hands and your knees. Okay. So hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Let's start moving your spine. So feel free to notice, what is it that your body needs? How's your spine today? If you want to pause in any one spot and kind of give some extra stretch there, is movement better for you? Do you want to move around so you can let go of the flexion and extension, move into any plane of movement that feels good to you? You can do some pelvic circles. You were here on Monday, we did, some paintbrush circles. On the wall, we did some navel circles on the floor. So whatever is going to help you warm up your back. All right, and then let's come down towards child's pose. Take your arms down at your sides. Relax into the curled position. Let all your air out. As you inhale, notice the back body. Notice how your ribs are pliable, front, back, and sides. Inhale, reaching your arms up to the sky. Exhale and folding forward. Inhale, coming up again, reaching to the sky. Exhale and lowering your body back down. Come up onto all fours again. Cat-cow, inhale with your back arched. Exhale, spine rounds. Flatten out your back. Let's find our twist. Right arm up in the air. As you exhale, slide that shoulder down. If your shoulder is bothering you, don't lift it up in the air. Just try bringing it underneath you. Gaze toward the floor. Feel the breath now. Where is there restriction? Can you kind of touch the restriction? Let the breath meet the body. And then inhale. If you want, bring that arm up and place the hand down onto the ground. Second side. Exhale and slide that shoulder down. Relax what you can. Gaze toward the floor. Let the neck be soft. Find the breath again. Where is it going? Fill up your lungs as best as you can. Breathing in through the nose. And then relax and come on to all fours again. Find your way to dog pose. Lengthen through your spine. Take your time here. So feel free to knead your feet, pedal, any kind of movement. So movement is really good to warm up muscles, more than just a static hold usually. So let the beginning of your practice always have movement attached to it. Everything we've done so far has been mobile and moving. So let that find its way into your dog pose too for a few breaths. And then as you're ready, start to seek some stillness in the body. What's here? Melt the eyes. See what it feels like to have that sense of the exhale being long and steady. Okay, so there's no reason why you can't still keep that inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth or nose. And then walk your feet forward and come into Uttanasana. So same, move around, wag your tail, roll through your shoulders, wobble your head around. Just let the soft tissues in your body be freed up by a little bit of mobility, movement. Inhale, halfway lift. Straighten your legs now, straighten your spine. Exhale, bend your knees, melt down again. Let's rise up. Arms to the sky, take a deep breath. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Pause here for a moment. Let's have just a bit of yielding. So feel the floor, the breath, and your ability to yield are hand-fasted to each other. You can't yield if you're holding your breath.
You can't hold your breath if you're yielding. So just feel the interplay. Now with your diaphragm, so close your eyes, sense the diaphragm and see if you can feel it dropping to the pelvic floor, dropping all the way to the bottom of the feet if you can. Do you have the yielding into the ground and the push off? Can the earth give you some energy? All right. Inhale, reach the arms up again. Exhale and fold forward.
Inhale for a halfway lift.
Exhale and melt back down. Let's step the left foot back, right foot stays forward, come into a lunge. Blocks are so nice if you have some blocks. Let's start moving. Okay, so bending the knee and straightening. And once again, warming up the muscles of the body with a little bit of movement before static holds. The breath is moving too. Feel the inhales. Feel the exhales. And then pause there with your legs straight for a moment. Square the hips, bow your head down, extend the spine. All right, then we're going to come into a lunge. Feel free to take your right foot out to the right more if you need some wider base to keep yourself stable. Maybe you want to have your arms just dangling. Maybe you want your hands on your hips or palms at your heart. Maybe you want them up in the air. So just find whatever your crescent lunge looks like today. Be very mindful to not hyperextend your back knee. Have a little softness there. You can even bend it a lot. Feel the breath when the arms are overhead and you have all this lung expansion. And even if your arms are down, lung expansion. Notice if your lung expansion goes up into your shoulders. See if you can keep the lower body finding the most of the movement. Of course, the upper lungs will move too. Exhale and release the hands down. Walk your back foot forward. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and free yourself down. Bend your knees, all your air out. Push off your feet, rise up. Exhale, come back down, bend your knees.
Inhale for a halfway lift.
Exhale, your other foot back. Now our left foot is forward, our right foot is back. Let's start moving, finding your way. So enjoy, close your eyes if you can. Feel into the body. What is nice here? What do you love about this? Is your breath with you? Once you come back around to some straight legs again, let's just pause here, square the hips. I know your legs are really long apart for this kind of hold, so you can always have higher blocks, or if you don't have blocks, you can have your hand on your side. I have one more set of blocks to give away, so if anybody wants to borrow some blocks, let me know. Square hips, spine gets longer, breath is deep and full. All right, now bring our hands down onto the ground, and let's go ahead and find our lunge. Pick your foot back if you need to, find where you want it to be, and then when you're ready, come up. Okay, so arms can be wherever you want them to be. Find your breath. So, if you're focused a lot on your inhales, trying to steady your breath, you might need to back off on your arms. This is a great place to start. So if your practice starts to run away, if your breath starts to run away from you, start by just taking your arms into a different position instead of just coming out of pose. And just see, what can you tolerate? And if you do need to straighten your leg for a moment, then do that. Take away your expectations of your strength, your stamina, your fortitude, and instead bring all of that will into staying with the breath. Arms go where you want them to go. All right, and then as you're ready, let's go ahead and place the hands down, step back to a plank. So find that straight line in the body. Now what can you do with the diaphragm? Can you expand it on your inhales a little bit? Can you hug everything in on your exhales? Lots of core. Let the exhales through your mouth help you to strengthen your core.
Lots of diaphragmatic movement. Even though we're tense through the center, put your knees down. Let's go ahead and find our way to the floor. Take a breath, cobra pose. Once again, some movement to wake up those muscles. One more time. And exhale. Stay here for a moment. I want you to explore your breath just a little bit. So what does it feel like to breathe along the back side of your body? Can you feel the back side of your diaphragm? So the lower ribs, the back side of your diaphragm. Can you feel some movement there? A lot of times we think of our diaphragm just being in the center front, not realizing that it wraps all the way. All right, let's go ahead and come up onto all fours. Find any kind of movement that feels good to your body. Then we're going to be here for just a moment on all fours. So I want you to relax your belly. This is hard for some people to do. Relaxing the belly all the way can be very difficult for a lot of people. We're trained to kind of suck it in. So what can you do to relax the belly? Let the diaphragm stretch a little bit. And then as you exhale, pull everything in. Feel that 360 core. Remember your transverse abdominis, the muscle, your deep wrapped around corset muscle. So your diaphragm and your transverse abdominis work so well together. So inhale, let the belly release out, everything broadens. As you exhale, draw everything in toward the midline. Let the diaphragm draw in and up. And just practice this. We're going to do some specific diaphragm training today, just a little bit. So this is just kind of a warm up for that, to get used to moving the diaphragm out and in. Exhale and engage. Inhale and relax. This is something we often back off. So come onto your shins for a moment. A lot of times people breathe like this. I don't know if you can see me. Where we pull our diaphragm in and up when we inhale, and then relax it down as we exhale. And really we want to do just the opposite. So sit on your shins and just try that. Same as what we did on all fours. The belly relaxes, the diaphragm expands on our inhale. And as we exhale, everything hugs in. You can exhale through pursed lips to help you with that strengthening on the exhale. See if you can travel all the way to the pelvic floor, letting it relax down and wide on your inhale. Everything back in and up on your exhale. So the diaphragms of the body move together. All right, let's come up to stand. I promise we'll do some standing poses in a moment. Now, if this makes you dizzy, I want you to not do it, obviously. I'm going to show you from the side. So we're going to bend our knees and put our hands, and I'm locking out my arms. So my elbows are locked, my shoulders are, I'm kind of just leaning on my hands, letting my bones do the work so I don't have to be in charge with muscular action. I don't recommend doing that for much of anything, but this. Okay, you can even take your feet a little wider than hip width apart if you want. So just here. So let the belly, same as what we did on all fours, we're going to inhale and let the belly drop. Exhale and pull the belly back in. So you can just do this, and if you get dizzy, stop. But this is the other way you can try. Okay, so I can't talk and do this at the same time, but I'll talk you through it first and then I'll show you. So we're going to take a deep breath. We're going to exhale all of our air out, so our lungs are empty, and then we're going to pump our diaphragm. Open, close, open, close, open, close, like that. And as fast as you can. So watch for just a second. And I don't know how many I did, probably 5 or 6. So you don't go past where your air hunger lives. This is not the place to stretch your tolerance for air hunger, okay? So you may not know how to do this. You may be like, wait, I can't, what's moving? You may feel like you're doing this, like your spine is doing the moving. Try to keep, that's why I want you to lock out your elbows a little bit if it's okay.
Let your spine be passive, and it's all the movement of your transverse abdominis and your diaphragm. Open, close, like billows, you know, like those old-fashioned thing that you stoke a fire with. Okay, let's try that. Stop in between, stand up, take a breath, be normal. If you're dizzy, don't do it, okay? The backing away portion of it is to just breathe and do it. Nice and slow. And I don't recommend doing more than, I don't know, 3 rounds of it. So you're probably just about finished now. Let's go ahead and notice if you're dizzy. Okay, so if you are, just squeeze your hands, tuck your chin for a moment. Deep breaths. All right, inhale. Reach the arms to the sky. Exhale and bend your knees. Inhale for a halfway lift. Melt back down. Let's take our right foot forward and our left foot back. Notice if you feel a little more oxygenated. So before we go anywhere, close your eyes. Breathe again through your nose. Feel the sinuses. Do you feel more oxygenated in your lungs and your muscles? Can you feel how the nitric oxide is giving you some dilation in your blood vessels and in your lungs? Let's rise up, crescent lunge again. Reach and extend. We're going to take a twist here, and we're going to move. Inhale, back up. Twist the other way. Inhale, back up. One more time for a twist. Inhale, back up. Exhale, hands down. Walk your back foot forward, halfway lift. Let's change sides again. Foot back, left foot forward. Come on up. Bring your arms to the sky. Find your twist. Use the muscles, your obliques and your transverse abdominis. Inhale, back up. Twist open. One more time. Twist. And then come back to center. Place the hands down, plank pose. You can always put your knees down. You can always put your elbows down. There's lots of ways to change this depending on what your body's needing. Feel your core on the exhales. Feel the strength of that wraparound corset muscle through your torso. All right, and then let's come down onto our belly again. Okay. This time we're going to do just a few diaphragm push-ups here. Okay, so you can choose to have your arms back behind you, especially if your shoulders are bothering you, palms facing toward the floor. You can choose to have your arms in front of you, in line with shoulders or wider. You get to choose your position. You can even come into locust pose and interlace your fingers. So choose what you want to do. Take a deep breath in, lift everything up, and we're going to be here for a few breaths. Back of the neck stays long. Let your diaphragm move. Push it into the floor. Release it away. Feel how your whole body is rocked by your diaphragm. This is really good. It's like push-ups for your diaphragm. All right, and then relax. Put your head down, turn to one side or the other. Windshield wiper your knees left and right. Finding your breath. Okay, let's come back up onto all fours. Any kind of circling you want to do, let the spine get free. And then as we're ready, go ahead and come up to dog pose. Full breaths. Enjoy all the space in your side bodies. Reach your spine away from your head. See if you can get a lot of gap between your ribs and your pelvis. Feel those low back lungs expand. Nestle your mind right into the very back base of your lungs, the back of the body. All right, let's lift the right leg straight up in the air. Extend through the spine. Exhale, knee to nose. All your air out. Squeeze all your air out. One more time. Lift that leg up.
Exhale, knee to nose, all the air out. Inhale, bring it back. Place your foot down onto the ground. Let's change sides. Other leg up. Square hips. Try not to stack your hip just right now. Extend. Take a deep breath. And then as you exhale, all your air out. Knee into the chest. Push all the air out. Inhale, bring new fresh air in. One more time. Inhale, bring it back. Place your foot down onto the ground. Take your feet and walk them forward. Relax your shoulders, wiggle things around. Inhale and rise up. And we're gonna bring our legs wide. Once again, you know the up, down. If you're down for a while and then you get up, sometimes it can make you dizzy. Squeeze your fists or your palms into each other, tuck your chin. You can even, taking your legs apart won't help too. If you really feel dizzy, squeeze your legs too, cross your thighs over thighs. When you feel better, go ahead and bring your legs out, find your breath. Before we go anywhere, let's just find space. So you can bring your arms out or not. Imagine that your lungs can touch your hands and your feet, that there's so much spaciousness in your body. Are you still able to breathe through your nose, out through mouth or nose? Okay, and then we're going to turn our foot to the side. Take a deep breath in, Urdhva Konasana. Place your elbow on your knee. Open your arm. If your shoulder wants to be here, if you lifting your arm over your head is bothersome, keep your hand down. Or if you can't breathe, keep your hand down. You can back away from the pose and go a little less deep if your breath needs you to. So there's ways to not just totally come out, but to back away from a little bit of the effort so that you can stay with the breath. Open yourself up, feel the side body expand. Even if your hand's down, can you feel the ribs on both sides of your body lengthen and open? Push your feet into the wall, into the floor. Find that yield push. Remember breath and yield, find each other. All right, and then go ahead and come on up. We're going to turn to the other side, same pose. Bend your knee. Place your elbow on your knee. Arm can be up, arm can be on your hip. Notice if you tend to overstretch one side and crunch the other. See if you can have evenness on the two sides of your rib cage. Shoulders away from the ears. Find your breathing. Put your arm where you want it. How are your feet? Can you breathe? Can your inhale touch the pelvic floor and the soles of your feet? Can you feel the exhale give you strength, stability, centeredness? A lot of times we think of the exhale as a surrender, and that's awesome when we're not being active. It's awesome even when we are being active, but it's also a place where we can find strength. All right, go ahead and come on up. Turn to the other side again. We're going to just find Vera 2. Once again, your hands can be anywhere you want them to be. Remember, your hip can turn a bit if you need it so that your hip is not overtaxed by this posture. With your arms wherever you want them, and if they end up coming out to the sides, can you let the arm expansion give the lungs somewhere to go? Imagine you have a little, string that you're moving your lungs out to where your arms are. Can you feel that your feet get your lungs too? That you're expanding not just up and out, but down. All right, let's go ahead and straighten the leg and turn to the other side. Find your breath and notice, it's different when we ping pong back and forth between the standing poses. It's very balancing for the pelvis to immediately do the other side. So notice, does this side feel more comfortable, less comfortable? Where do you want your arms to be? Does your hip need to turn a fair amount? Does your knee need to bend less or more? There's no rights or wrongs. There's just finding your best place for your body, for your breath. Shoulders down, stabilize your core on your exhales. Feel your breath touch your feet and your hands on your inhales. Staying with the inhales through the nose as best as you can. Back something away if you can't. Let's go ahead, reach your arms up to the sky, turn your feet forward, and come down to Pasrita. Now, when you're here, see if you can find, we're not going to do that same diaphragmatic push-ups that we did when we were, kind of like locked out, but see if you can just play, whether your hands are on blocks or the floor, with the diaphragm releasing on your inhales, with the engagement happening on your exhales. Come back up. We're going to do yet another pose here. So turn the feet. This is a balance pose, so you might need a block for Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. When you come into this, remember we want to come in and out the same way. So as we find our way up into the pose, okay, you find what's working for you. Try not to hyperextend this knee you're standing on. A little soft bend in there is good. Stretch your foot in the air. Open your chest. And now, while you're here, can you let your breath touch your hands and your feet on your inhales? Are you able to breathe through your nose? It's okay if you're falling over, and you can also grab onto a wall. You can lean your back against a wall. And then a big, giant step back and come out of the pose. Let's do the second side. Okay. So just going back and forth. Blocks are nice. If you don't have a block, you can use furniture too. If you come all the way to the floor, we tend to get very collapsed in the underbelly of the pose. So the blocks aren't a crutch. They're a way to expand. So you can use your furniture, like I'm using my couch right now, to do this pose. Make sure this knee you're standing on is not locked out, okay? No hyperextension. Open the chest, lift this leg in the air, feel the strength of your core, the strength of your hips. Breathe into your feet. Let your inhales touch your hands and your feet. Bottom ribs are stretched to the feet. Side ribs are stretched to the hands. Core engagement on the exhales. Breathe into the back rim of the lungs. And then a big step back, coming out of the pose. Turn back to the front of your mat, dog pose. Extend through the spine. Deep breath in. Feel free to move. If you want to pedal your feet or rock your back, anything that feels good. Inhale, come forward into a plank. We're going to put our knees down and we're going to come into a forearm plank. So with this, you can always keep your knees on the floor behind you. So, you can walk your knees back and keep them on the floor, or you can lift your knees up for a forearm plank. So whichever you're choosing to do, remember that sense of condensement on the exhales and reaching the back lungs, the bottom lungs, everywhere to the crown, the tail, the feet. Can you breathe all the way to your feet on the inhales? Are you still able to breathe through the nose? All right, is your exhale helping your core strength? All right, and then we're going to put our knees down if they're not already there and bring our body to the floor. Find your breath. Relax for a moment. Deep inhale, deep exhale. We're going to come rolling over onto our side. Grab onto your top foot and stretch your quad. Lengthen through the spine. Tailbone moves toward the knee. We're going to do this standing up in just a moment, but just feel it here. Just letting your quad stretch a little bit. And then come back around and let's go to the second side. Grab on. Spine's long, tailbone long, pubic bone toward the belly. Stretch the knee. Try not to let the knee lift up. Keep it in line with the hip. Your other knee can bend to give you more stability. And then let's go ahead and relax. Come up onto all fours and come up to stand. Okay. We're going to stand on our right foot, reach and grab your left foot. If you can't, you can use a strap to hold onto your foot. Lift the other arm, your right arm up in the air if you want. You can always have your hand on your hip. So come back to your breath. Remember that this knee is not locked out. We're having some softness here. Reach the arm,
And then kick your foot and just find a little bit of a back bend wherever it lives in your body. Can you open your chest? Can you be very mindful that you're not hyper extending your back? So you don't want to, be in a really deep back bend in this pose. Tailbone long, pubic bone toward the belly, so you're not collapsed. Find your breath, and the pose can be here, and the pose can be here. Okay, so wherever you go, the shoulders and the hips are square. How's your breath? Okay, and then come back up. Let's change sides. Put your foot down, grab onto your right foot, standing on your left. Try not to let your hip hike out. Hug it in. The knee is soft. The thigh bone's back. Arm wherever you want it to be. Find your breath and come forward. The shoulders and the ribs and the pelvis stay square. Try not to open to the side. Can you still breathe well? Kick your foot a little bit into your hand. Can your breath touch your extremities again? And then go ahead and come on up. Arms to the sky. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Fold in half. Let the back open. Wag the tail. Anything you want to move. Inhale for a halfway lift. And come down onto your knees. We're going to come all the way to the belly. This time we're going to grab our feet. If you can't grab your feet, you can wrap a strap around your ankles. You can also just choose a different back bend if you want. We're going to take a deep breath in and lift up into Dhanurasana. Once again, this is back to the diaphragm. Can you feel that the diaphragm is having a push-up? Deep breath in, long exhale. Back and the neck stays long, tailbone stretching toward the knees stay in line with the hips. Core engagement on the exhale. All right, then relax. Windshield wiper your knees left and right. Deep breaths here. Turn your head the other way. Keep shaking your feet one side then the other. Breathe into the back, bottom lungs. All right, and then let's go ahead and come onto our back. Okay, so lie down. Find your breath. Okay, instead of bringing your knees right to the chest, just bring your left knee in. Your right leg is long on the floor. Okay, so left knee in, right leg long on the floor. Extend through your spine. Find your breath. We're going to either grab a strap or interlace your hands behind your hamstring. If you have a strap, you can hold it on your foot. Extend the spine, finding your breathing. Root the femur bone down. Take the head of the femur bone into the hamstrings, into the hands. If you're using a strap, just take the femur bone into the hamstrings, no hands to meet. And then let's go ahead and relax that. Bend the knee back into the chest. Straighten that leg on the ground. Other knee in. So give it a little squeeze. And remember, you can always bend your other knee and put your foot on the floor if your pelvis needs a little more support. Interlace your hands or grab a strap and put the strap around your foot, whichever floats your boat. Move your femur bone away from the shoulder. If your hands are behind your hamstring, press your femur bone into your hands. See if you can keep the knee soft and not hypermobile. Drop the femur bone down to the floor. Root it into the hip joint. All right, let's go ahead and release that. Okay, now we get to bring our knees out a little bit. Don't pull them in real close to the chest. We're going to do a couple more poses before you get to do that. So feet down onto the ground. Let's twist. So hips move right, knees up, drop left. Deep breath in. Deep breath away. Now, because we're twisting again, it's such a unique way the lungs feel when our body is twisting. So enjoy the meeting. The lungs meet the twist very differently than they meet other poses. So find the meeting point where the breath touches the twist.
pick up your knees. Let's go find neutral again. So before you go to the other side, just take a breath in a neutral spine. And then as you're ready, lift the hips up, scoot them the other way. Knees come up and drop. Deep breath here. Let the twist happen organically. So perhaps the breath can help you soften the twist. Is there a point where the breath feels restricted by the twisting? That's what I mean by the meeting place. Can you touch that place and let the breath get a little squeezed by the twist? It's nice. It's a little like sponge on the lungs. Are you relaxed? All right, and then pick up the knees. Come to a neutral spine again. Take a breath here. All right, now we're going to do a hip stretch. Still don't want you pulling in real deep yet, almost. Right foot on left knee. Let's come into reverse pigeon pose. Now, if you prefer to do pigeon pose, by all means, go do pigeon pose. Find your way here. So where are you holding? Do you want to hold the back of your thigh or the front of your shin? Do you want to not hold anything and put your foot on a piece of furniture or the wall so your arms can rest? Do you want to be still? Do you want to move? And then let's go ahead and release the legs and change sides. Okay, so as you put your foot on your knee, let your knee fall away a little bit. Just let it relax before you come into bringing the knee toward the chest. And however you're holding, try to notice what you need here. You know, sometimes a little movement can feel nice. So you just experiment with what's going to get you to melt and relax. Are you still breathing through the nose? How is it now to breathe through the nose when you're horizontal again, when things are a little bit more relaxed? If you're in pigeon pose, how does it feel in pigeon pose? Notice if you have the inclination to breathe through your nose, but top it off with a little bit of mouth breathing right at the end. And you know, this is often a way where you top the tank off, and we don't need to. It's unnecessary. It's habit. Let's go ahead and relax. Now, just straighten your legs out for a moment. Take your starfish, open things up. Now you get to do the long-awaited flexion. So curl your head in, knees to your chest, and then relax your head and feel free to find happy baby pose or just bring your knees to your chest and rock a little bit or be still, whatever is soothing for your body. Okay, and then let's go ahead and rest for Shavasana. If there's anything else you need, go ahead and take it. So if there's any other posture that your body's calling for. And then make sure you're really comfortable. So how do you want to be in Shavasana? Do you want your knees supported? Do you want them flat? Do you want your legs up on something? Do you want them down? Do you want your limbs wide away from the midline or close? Just kind of fiddle around until you're like, yeah, this is my spot. And then once you get to your spot, let's melt here. Feel your bones. Now our exhales are all about surrender. No more effort required. So the exhales, instead of contracting us toward our core, let them condense you and melt you into the floor. Before you slip into the deep stream of Shavasana, pay attention to your breath again. Notice the sinuses, all the air swirling around in these inner chambers before traveling down into your trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, all the way to your alveoli, the little sacs in your lungs where oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange happens. Visualize that all of your blood vessels and all of your pulmonary vessels are open and free. Relax. This nitric oxide relaxation effect on the smooth muscles of the body. Do you feel oxygenated? Can you feel that your limbs have gotten the oxygen that they need? Do you feel like your organs have gotten the oxygen that they need? Can you allow this feeling to happen without trying to pull the breath in? Melt the eyes, melt the jaw, melt the tongue. Melt the belly and the diaphragm. Melt the shoulders and the arms. Melt the hips and the legs.
Let's slowly begin to deepen our breathing. Let your body melt into the floor one more time. Just sink into the earth. Give away what you're ready to get rid of. What can you surrender and let go of? And find a little movement as you're ready. Deep breaths. Wiggle toes, stretch your head, your arms, anything that feels nice. And then find your way onto your side. Use your arms to lift yourself upright. Once you find a comfortable seat, let's just take a moment to feel your body, feel the breath, feel the mind. Maybe you can just make a little commitment when you consciously put your mask on, when you go someplace, to try to remember to stay through your nose, breathing through your nose, and even when you don't have your mask on. Let's bring the palms together to your heart. Bow in. Offer your practice. Share all the energy you've cultivated. Send it forth. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.